4395, 800-709-4395.
Here's important new information from the Diabetes Solution Center for you, a family member, or a loved one suffering with diabetes. No out-of-pocket cost, regardless of your age. All you need is Medicare or private insurance to be potentially eligible. Call the Diabetes Solution Center right now for details. Just takes a couple of minutes. Our friendly, knowledgeable agents will give you free, no-obligation information, handle all the insurance paperwork, and make sure your supplies are delivered directly to your door for free.
Call U.S. Medical Supply 24 hours a day. 800-597-9323. 800-597-9323. 800-597-9323. Call right now. 800-597-9323.
Out-of-date carpet giving you the blues? Tired of your old dingy and broken tile? Let my friends at the Floor Store in Cleburne, Texas give your home the makeover it deserves. This is Old Taco Joe coming to you for the Floor Store. Whether it's carpet, tile, wood flooring, or real wood laminate, the Floor Store can cover all of your flooring needs. Located at 405 West Henderson Street in Cleburne, Texas, owner Brent Harris can help. Shower tile, tub surrounds, even backsplashes. Give them a call today at 817-641-9444. The Floor Store, they got you covered.
Serving Johnson County, Texas, JoCo Community Radio.
Okay.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to another edition of JoCo Business Connections. I'm Tiffany Carlin with Nona Reed, and today we have the amazing Mike Perdue joining us this morning with Service First Mortgage here in Burleson, Texas. How are you this morning?
Great. How are you?
I'm good. I said long time no see because we saw you at dinner last night, and
Several margaritas later.
several margaritas. Yes. So I was
Does he need to move the turn the mic?
Oh yeah, turn it, tilt it a little bit towards
a
it.
little.
There you go.
There you go.
Better.
Yeah, you might have to tighten it to keep it awesome.
Good morning.
I turned some air on, so hopefully we won't be too hot.
Yeah.
It was getting hot. That's one reason we turned the lights off.
Yeah, it felt good out there, but when we walk in here, it's like, oh. Yeah,
I know. You were like, it feels good out here. And I'm like, yeah, wait till you walk in here.
It becomes an oven. I can't wait. And I cannot wait until we build the new location. Because the control, it'll have its completely own control room, and this room, and it will have its own air conditioning compared to the rest of the building.
Nice.
Which is a co-working space. And
the ladies back there do not like when there's a show because they are like
that way we can keep it nice and cold in the studio and in the control room, and I'm just looking forward to it. I'm super excited. So yeah, now if we could just get ourselves focused on getting to building, that would be great. You know what that's like.
We were talking about that last night.
We were talking about that last
I was telling my
night.
daughter about it this morning. She's like, are you serious? I could walk there.
Yes. Hey, and if she needs a job,
that's right.
I'm sure there's going to be plenty because there's plenty of businesses coming in. So we're super excited about it. So I don't want to talk publicly too much about it, but we can talk privately about what we're looking to put there. But I'm excited.
That's right.
I'm excited. It's going to be really good. It's going to be good for Burleson, a little closer to home, and
further away from me, but that's okay.
Is it really though? I don't know.
No, I don't know.
Not if you come the back way.
I live in the county, so everything I do have to come to town.
Yeah,
I do too.
Us too.
I live in the county.
But this is what's going to give us something on the east side to where we don't have to.
Exactly.
I'm on the west side, so there you go.
Only have to drive half the way now. So.
And I truly think that once we have what we're building up and going, I think that that's going to really create interest for maybe a small grocery store that's even closer to us and some other things. So, I mean, that's going to be a gas station right by Centennial on the corner there, I think is what's
It
going
is,
in there.
from what I've read.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Nice.
speaking of Centennial, we're going to talk all kinds of stuff today besides your business, but because we were just talking about this before we came on to air, and you obviously were taking your daughter to school this morning. You said for the last time.
Yeah, I had a busy morning ahead, and my wife said, I can take her to school. And I said, no, it's it's my last day to ever take her to school. I'm going to do that today. So, because I can't always pick her up. I'm so busy, and it's like, I'm not going to miss this. Next year, we're going to do online school at home. We're not going back to
You've joined.
Do you mind saying
joined
why?
some
Do
of
you
us.
mind sharing with people why you're
honestly,
choosing to do that?
It's because it's just, I think there's so much out of control with the students there, and it's only a few students that are making it bad for everybody.
Mhm.
So, I mean, she's got so many tardies, and it's like, why are you getting all these tardies? Because I get the alerts, and it's like,
Yeah.
I can't go to the bathroom.
Mhm.
And I said, why can't you go to the bathroom? It's like, the stalls are full with kids in there vaping. And so they stay in there and they vape until it's the last minute. And then I finally get to go. And it's just, I mean, that's just minimal things that are taking
Yeah,
place.
that's
But I'm just,
a little of it.
and
So
I don't want her in that environment,
Yeah.
being around people that are doing things, trying to change her ways of thinking, her upbringing and things like that. So, I mean, look what happened yesterday. I mean, you look at
Right.
this kid's background, and I mean, there's a picture of him with a Boy Scout uniform on the wall, and here he is wearing a dress, going in. His lifestyle is changing. He's not thinking like a normal person, and goes and kills a bunch of people.
and nobody's doing anything about
No.
it. And that's what we were saying on the morning show on JoCo Vibes is see something, say something.
Exactly.
I mean, we cannot be looking at and I know that this is a taboo topic for some people, and they're not going to like, probably what I have to say about it, but
I don't like what you say.
It's but it's my
Thought I'd
opinion.
jump on it.
When we're looking at our kids, in elementary school especially, and we're not having real discussions as to why they're questioning their sexuality at such a young
It's
age.
sickening.
You're not even fully
Right.
developed. Your puberty. You're still going through
Mhm.
puberty. You haven't even gone through puberty. I'm sorry, in elementary school. And so why does anyone feel that this is something that should be discussed in the school setting? If a child, and now my sister's a teacher in Florida, and she will tell you that this, don't say gay bill, really, that it isn't really what it is. And she said they already have protocols as teachers
Right.
that, if a student comes to her and questions, and she teaches in high school, but if a student comes to her and questions anything about their sexuality or has anything like that, she holds her hand up and goes, stop. We need to go to your counselor's office.
That's the way it should be.
And
everywhere.
we need to call your parents.
Right.
It's the way it should be everywhere.
And then you should have to call your parents. At no time do I think a counselor has a right in high school, middle school, elementary school, unless your student's 18 and they're a legal adult, then they have a right to their privacy when it comes to mental health. Even though they're under our care, but that is the case. That's the law. And these kids today know it. They know it too. At 18, they know it.
Oh, yeah.
And so, but at any level of school, if a child goes to a school counselor or to a teacher with any type of crisis, I'm going to go with emotional, mental, physical, sexual crisis, that should be an immediate call to a parent. There's beyond discussion. Call parent first, and then talk to the child, talk them off the wall, or talk them through it until the parent gets there. And, sometimes the parent's not the right person either, but the parent should be informed.
I feel like as education has evolved, we have thrown our parents out of the picture.
I can agree with that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I mean, think about even before our time when our parents were going to school, boy, those, if a kid got in trouble, my dad got in trouble before he got off that school bus. My grandfather already knew about it and
Had a switch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it I just feel like there are some things that parents should have some knowledge of what's going on.
Mhm.
I was I hate to bring it up because I don't know if it's a rumor or not, but something supposedly happened at BHS. Not 100% sure. Some people were saying the police confirmed it. Some were saying no. And then people were like, why didn't we hear about this? Why didn't the school send something out? And then some parents are like, well, they don't send everything out. That's something, if something like that really happened,
But do you know what was the rumor
it was a stabbing at BHS.
recently?
Yeah, it happened yesterday. Now,
Oh, I
again,
haven't heard anything
I do
about it.
not know because based on everything I was reading on social media, the parents that were calling the police station, some people were getting a no, that's not true, and some were getting yes, but we can't talk about it.
Mhm.
Or so everybody was getting different answers. That should scare us also. So, and then one parent's like, well, shouldn't we know something from the school? I mean, if something happened, they should tell us. And then another parent goes, oh, you think they tell us everything?
No,
Wake up,
they're-
mama.
It's selective. So.
Yes. And they said it doesn't fit their agenda of making them look good if they put that out.
Nope,
And it's
doesn't.
true. I mean, we should be involved. If something like that happened and it was supposedly a kid that didn't even go to the school district, somebody let him in. Again, don't know if it's true, but something for some reason got started. And then there was talks about it being a shooting today there. So,
And so these are the exact reasons why. I mean,
yeah, and then
after
one
today, my
yeah.
daughter has 2 years left of high school.
Yeah.
And it's going to be in our house.
And is she
Yep.
good? Is
So-
she good with it? I mean, is
she's absolutely excited
Dalton.
about it. So-
I'm
so yours is
offering
going to
it.
be a junior also,
Yes.
huh?
Mhm.
So is
Mhm.
mine.
See, Maverick's going to be a senior at Centennial, and I keep offering. I'm like, please just finish up homeschooling because you can, if he finishes up,
Especially
I
with
mean,
him,
he can
yeah.
excel, and he can excel right through it if he starts this summer and graduate before he turns
could-
18 in December.
Shoot, he could graduate before his
Right.
peers
Right.
do.
We've done online school at
Yeah.
home. Our son played sports growing up, and
Mhm.
he traveled all the time with his hockey team, and they were out of state 7 times in a school year, and there was no way for him to finish a
Right.
full school year. So his entire team was doing Texas Connections Academy, and it was great. And
Mhm.
they'd travel wherever they went. They'd go and do their schoolwork, and so
Mhm.
we went back to that. That's what we're going to.
I think
Right.
that's the
So-
same program that Dave has his daughter. in,
Yes, I
is
believe
Texas
it's Dave
Connections.
It was
O'Connor.
great.
Yeah.
I mean, anytime I needed to talk to a
Text-
teacher,
yeah.
they were a phone call away. They would give me their cell phone numbers.
So these are public schools.
Yes.
For those who are not familiar, they are public schools. The TEA does recommend those particular schools. It will be it helps you follow the graduation plan for them to be able to graduate. They still have to take the STAR
Yes, they do.
test, things like that. So there are different areas to go about. Some kids still need the same structure as they would in a classroom. Some like being able to, do their work more at later times than the early morning. And so there are different programs out there.
And it's not for every
K-12,
kids out
Texas
there, all of them,
Connection. There's one in HEB area that like our Miss Joshua last year, that is now Miss North Texas. She used to attend. Now she's doing, I think, the TCU one. No.
Well, she actually
going
went to her first year of high school.
Oh yeah.
She went to physical high school. She wanted to have that experience. Guess what? Gone.
Within a 6 weeks, she was
like,
she
no,
was
I
out.
don't want to be here.
That was the school year she decided to go and try
didn't
it.
like the environment, didn't like the kids, and then there was bullying and just all kinds of crazy stuff. And this is a crazy time for our kids, and I feel like our educational system in the public school sector hasn't caught up. It hasn't been moving forward with what's going on outside the school walls.
Mhm.
I'm not talking about technology because they've taken that to the forefront, but I think they've gone overboard with it because the real world, should be following a 20-20-20 rule. 20 minutes on, staring at a computer, look away for 20 seconds, look to 20 feet away. That's what they're supposed to do because our kids are in it.
I haven't heard that.
Yes, they're in an eye crisis.
She learned that at the eye doctor with her son.
Yes,
Interesting.
yes. With my, I actually have a picture of it because I forget what it's called. Right, macular. Is it macular degeneration or whatever?
Yeah.
and so they're looking for certain things
She's
with the
hereditary,
kids.
by the way.
They're looking
supposed to play this
for certain things in kids, like
eye
if
game.
if their eyes get worse and progress to a certain extent, really, really, really fast. Like a jump from a -2 to a -4 in a very short period of time, and they come back and in a very short period of time and they're degenerating more, then there's major cause for concern. My 11-year-old's at a -4.75 in both eyes. Poor kid. I can't. He's in contacts already.
Poor thing.
I do. I feel terrible for him, but he's in contacts already. We took him through that as quickly as we could because that's what he asked for, and he was just so tired of, wearing his glasses. So, but the eye doctor said we're seeing this a lot. He goes, the kids are so overstimulated and looking at computers and then phones and then tablets, and at school they're looking at a computer all
They
day
teach you
now.
that on day one.
Right.
Yeah,
Where-
all day now.
Where is picking up a book and teaching a kid to read a book? And I mean, I'm doing it at home, but I would much rather see a textbook in a classroom, and some classes have them. But my son he'll tell me, this is my favorite class. This is the class that there's the most involvement in and the most where we're actually reading. And science is what he's getting in 6th grade, where he said that. So
That's awesome.
I'm talking to him too. We're really trying to get him to do the homeschool thing too. And, unfortunately he's at that age where he really likes to be with other kids.
Right.
And so this makes it a little more challenging. But I know that 7th grade it's going to progress at Kerr. It just gets worse with these kids. The challenges on TikTok and ripping out bathroom sinks and mirrors off the wall, and I'm blown away that's happening
The
in
time
middle
of
school.
wetting paper towels and throwing them up on the ceiling and
Or sticking your pencil
watch,
in the,
Right,
and
right.
watching someone get plopped with it is
she's going to miss. She likes her teachers.
Yeah.
That's the one part she will miss because she really brags about them and how
Yes.
dedicated most of them are. And
yes.
I think there's only one that she really didn't like that much, but it's not like she disliked her. She just didn't feel like she was getting that much out of her. But
And that
other than that,
happens.
she really enjoyed all of them, and they went out of their way to help her. If she wanted to go in early to talk about something, they were more than willing to help her with that. So she will miss that aspect of it. She's going to get it again, but she will miss that. But this goes so much further than just parents at home. I mean, it's this whole anti-American agenda that's going on around our country right now, and it just filters down through the news, through the family, through the child.
Right.
And I mean, it goes a lot. And I mean, then again, that moves into a mental health issue. It's just, there's so much going on that it's just, I stopped watching the news many years ago.
Me too.
It put me in a depressed mood. And I think that really just, the whole thing, it just, from a high level, it just filters its way down into the house, into the schools. And we got educators that are in there for the wrong reasons. Like you said, they're trying to indoctrinate these children at a young age.
And for some, it's a job.
And
Yeah.
then there's some that
I
are
got my
in there
degree.
and
I
love it or leave because they just couldn't deal with it anymore.
I saw,
And they were great teachers.
I think tenure is a dangerous thing. I've always said that. I think if a teacher has tenure, they're locked in. And I don't know, do they do tenure here in Texas? Because they do in New Jersey. And I remember teachers who had tenure, and all you were waiting for is for them to retire because they hated kids. They're done. You've been teaching and you've been in the system and teaching for 20 years. You're fed up with other people's children. And I get it, because I could never be a teacher because I'd want to spank
and
other
the
people's
sad thing
children.
is I wasn't fed up with other people's kids because I still loved the kids, and I was fed up with the system. That's what I was fed up with.
Yeah. And today.
And watching my fellow teachers, because I wasn't in the classroom anymore. I was watching them get more loaded down with more stuff and not loving why they chose the profession. And if we as teachers don't have that mental capacity of being happy teaching what we're teaching, or being able to teach in the aspect, I argued with this one lady. Yes, you still have to teach the TEKS people, but as a educator, you were able to go, I can teach this TEK and this TEK with this lesson, or put like 5 or different TEKs with this lesson. That's not how they're doing it now. So I can sit there and argue with her all I want, but I know what I'm saying. But
So teachers
when
here in
teachers
Texas,
now, they're, the love of teaching is going out the window.
so
And therefore the kids will not learn when the teacher is not happy either. I'm sorry.
It's a mental thing. I
Mhm.
mean,
It is.
If there's something, and I like to read a lot, and mental therapy and leadership and coaching and things like that. And one of the things they said, you can really talk yourself into being miserable.
Right. Mhm.
And that's, I firmly believe that. And if you dread going to work every single day and you tell yourself that, you're going to have a miserable day. I have so many friends that are teachers, family members. My mother-in-law retired after like almost 30 years in teaching. And so many of them are miserable. They hate their jobs. I mean, I see so many of them going into real estate
loving their
now,
job, and it's not
into real estate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My sister's a teacher in Florida, like I said, and she's been a teacher she's on her 3rd year now.
I think so, yeah.
Because she finished up school later in life, and so she's loving it. She's loving teaching. But
is it because it hasn't gotten to her yet? Or
no,
well, and she hasn't.
She has.
I think she came in the point of the transition, so she didn't see.
So she hasn't seen it yet.
But state to state is different, and so what's happening here in Texas to teachers is not happening to the teachers in Florida, and it's not happening to the teachers in New Jersey. Because my aunt's a teacher there. She's been a French teacher in Fairlawn for, because she'll kill me, 30 plus years. She's been teaching French, and she loves it, but she has a passion for what she's doing, and she's a passion for the language because she is French. And so there's a difference in that, and it's different state by
because
state.
she also is teaching French class.
Right.
It's also whole different situation if you're talking to a math, science, English.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you here in Texas, because I'm not a teacher, so I don't know the answer to this question. And after everything that's changed and all this extra paperwork that's put on the teachers, are they still creating their own lesson plans?
Interesting.
No.
So that's something that Tara has to do before each semester, is create her lesson plan.
I cannot say that's going on in all school districts, but I do know that our district in Burleson has adopted a new program that I think is going to be full force next semester. I think some were piloting it the last 6 weeks, and it is a scripted lesson with paper.
I want to see it. I want to see it.
People do need to be asking about this.
Yeah, I want to know.
I've talked to some of the parents. I've talked to some of the teachers. I will never route them out of who they are, but I mean, they're going to be. This is how they're going to get evaluated and get their money, their raise. And
that's
if you
terrifying.
are a teacher that's creative and look, when you came into my English class, my language arts class, it wasn't like a normal language arts class. My kids, they'd be laying on the floor on long pillows. We would be doing activities, projects, this, that, active. And it was not quiet, except when we were kind of doing our silent reading or working sometime. And here's the thing. I don't mind people collaborating with each other. Now, if you're copying, that's a different thing. Collaborating is those are 2 different words. And so, yes, if I didn't understand number 5 and you did, I might go up to you and say, can you help me with number 5? Because I don't understand what it's asking.
See,
okay, yeah. Oh, that's what it means. That's collaboration. And my students and I talked about that, but they're taking that and that the kids, I guarantee you, my kids, past kids from middle school could get on air right now and say they loved my class. They loved it. They loved and they learned a lot.
It was interactive. I that's what they were doing at Stribling when my kids were there, and that's the way it should stay
Mhm.
as it goes up, because the real world is full of collaboration and communication.
Thank you.
And
That's what I said too.
So,
innovative thinking.
What are your thoughts on if people know there's a camera on them, they act totally different?
Oh, completely. I think
Mhm.
there should be a camera in every classroom.
What if
I think that would
security
also-
cameras were in classes recording everything that's done?
Totally different. Completely agree with
know?
you.
Just think about that. How that could really change.
I think
instead
it
of
would
putting a
also help with
parent
our
in a
bullying
class
issue,
to
too.
watch what's taking place.
You know what's so
they could
interesting?
log in and watch that.
So
Right.
a few years back, and I saw this on the Today Show. There's a school in, I can't remember if it was in somewhere in New York City, I believe, did a pilot program specifically for that. The entire school has that. Every classroom has a camera, and parents could access it as well.
I wonder what the statistics look like. on that.
I'm going to pull. I'll have to go.
Yeah,
I'm
that
going
would
to
be
go
very
search
interesting.
for it.
But
It's-
imagine doing that.
Well,
Yeah.
I believe that
I mean,
there
a
should
teacher
be,
that's doing their job shouldn't worry about
Exactly.
it. You're teaching,
Do your job. And
Do
you
your
don't have to worry
job.
about it.
there are
So,
schools.
and that's coming from a former teacher.
There are schools that since that after Sandy Hook, they went in and added cameras in all the hallways. They added other safety protocols on the doors, certain locking systems. We were talking about that with Kerr. There's a majority of the classrooms have glass walls. So
wow.
what are you going to do with the kids? Should an active shooter get into a
Mhm.
school? And so those are things that I think people weren't thinking about from a safety perspective, and they were looking for beautification, which we don't care. I want cinder
Mm.
block walls. I want my kids safe from a tornado. And so
Some of it's not beautification. I think they were using, the research of light,
architectural.
natural light coming in. There's a lot of concepts to it, and
It makes sense.
yeah.
Yeah.
But we also you kind of have to look at both ends and kind of weigh the situation. So
Definitely.
yeah.
I think, on top of the camera situation, which, they started doing this hall pass thing. So at Kerr, and I think it's at all middle schools and maybe even elementary, that every time your kid gets a hall pass, it actually is it's in a digital thing. So we get an email letting us know that our kid had a hall pass. Part of that is to say that in between a time, if so-and-so and so-and-so both had hall passes and something went wrong,
Interesting.
they know who's out and about. That's great, but that doesn't stop the wrong thing that's happening. So you still have to
Mhm.
go into preventative mode. I've got ideas on that too, but I want to make sure when we get back from this break, because we're going to break really quick, that we talk about Service First Mortgage, because I want to know the
It's
history
the
of
business
how
connection. so
Yes.
how we got into.
It's a different day though. So,
Yeah, it is a different day. But I want people to know how you got into this business and why you stayed here in this community with it, and the rest of the info. So we'll be right back. Stay with us.
Hey, Jill, congratulations on your son getting into the college of his dreams and with a full scholarship, too. Yes, we are so proud of him. I have to be honest. I'm a bit worried about our daughter getting into college. It's so competitive out there, and I feel overwhelmed with where to start. I completely understand. Listen, I felt the same way. And then I met Dr. Gina of Education Prep Centers. She put a plan in place that helped our son stand out in the admissions process, and that gave us a peace of mind for how to create a financial roadmap for his future. Wow, that's great. Sounds like I need to give her a call. Yes, she definitely helped our son find the perfect college, meet all his deadlines, and help us feel less anxious about the whole process. You need to reach out to her. Just check out educationprepcenters.com and set up a complimentary assessment with Dr. Gina. You'll be so glad you did. Education Prep Centers, college admissions made easy.
and you're hungry for tender brisket or some delicious homemade cobbler, then look no further than Leach Brothers BBQ, located at 1106 East Henderson, Cleveland, Texas. Leach Brothers has been family owned and operated since 1950. Take it from me, Taco Joe Orwinski. Todd and his family have been filling my belly breakfast, lunch, and dinner for a long time. Heck, I even have my own booth, open Monday through Saturday, 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. Come see them for dine-in, carry-out, and all your catering needs.
Hey, there's something you forgot to do. It sure is hot. Are you sweating like a dog? Wait, what? Dogs don't sweat. Oh no, you forgot to get your window tinted. Whether it's the kitchen window that sits in the sun for the hottest part of the day, or you just got new wheels, call Sharp Window Tinting in Burleson. 817-615-9379, or look them up on the web, sharpwindowtint.com.
JoCo Community Radio. Listen live at tunein.com.
Welcome back to JoCo Business Connections here on JoCo Community Radio. JoCo Community Radio is proud to be the voice of Johnson County, Texas, and is live 365 on the TuneIn Radio Network. To listen or watch, simply go to tuneinjoco.com to choose where and how. The JoCo Community Radio app is now available for free on Android and Apple devices. Simply search your store and download it. Check out our lineup and more on jococommunityradio.com. This episode and more brought to you by Patriot Claims, making your insurance work for you. Reach out to your local Texas sales rep, Nona Reed, at 844-TEX-HAIL. That's 844-TEX-HAIL, because hail happens here in Texas. And you got to have someone ready to advocate for you with your insurance company to make sure you get paid properly. If you've gone through the process, you know that they try to not pay you. That's their job, is to keep the money in their own pockets. So get her in your corner before the next storm hits. So welcome back to JoCo Business Connections. I'm Tiffany Carlin with Nona Reed and Mike Perdue with Service First Mortgage here. Service first, not first service, but although you put service first.
We do.
Yeah. First service first, whichever way you want to put it. But talk about that. I know we're talking a lot about education, but like you said, I mean, it's a different day today after what happened yesterday. And it honestly takes a village to educate our kids. And so I appreciate you talking openly about,
I'm no expert in it. So
none of us are an expert, but I think that's the whole thing that's important is that the business community, has a voice in education. Mm-hmm. We were talking about this last night. We're business owners in town, but we live out in the county, so we can't vote for what's happening in the city. Mm-hmm. And so one of the best ways that we can be a part of it is to use our voice,
be vocal about
and talk about it and help to offer solutions to challenges that we're having in our community, whether it's regarding our small businesses, our bigger businesses, our roads, and our education. I mean, these are all important things. So,
but if you do live out in the county, you can vote in the school stuff. And
yes,
even if you don't have kids in the school district, you can still be involved.
If you are a registered taxpayer,
right,
you vote for whatever school district you're in. That's
yes, and you
have to educate people,
guys. Yes,
I actually
learned a lot from people.
I actually have a friend who I absolutely adore who works for the other service, First Mortgage, and when I said, "Are you going to vote?" for the school election, and she goes, "I can't. I don't have any kids in the school district." And I looked at her and I went, "It doesn't matter." Or no, did she say she lived in the county? I can't remember.
She lives out in the county. She goes,
"I live out.
I would love to vote for you, but I live out in the county." And I'm like,
"Yeah, you can vote. You can vote." Okay, so talk about your business first of all. How long have you been in business here in Burleson?
I've been in the mortgage industry since 2003, so I'm approaching my 20th year. I worked, I made it through 2008 in the crash. I was laid off from 3 different companies during that time frame and just hung in there. And I sucked it up and went to work for one of the big banks, which I hated, but it came time for promotion to an area manager where I was going to get multiple branches. But they said, "We want you to have manager experience with our company before we put you in that. So we want you to go run a branch." So they sent me to Burleson, and I ran this Chase that used to be next door to Radio Shack in the Target parking lot. And
Oh my gosh.
it was a mess, and they rate them by PLs, profit and loss. They rank them 1 through 5. 1 means you're killing it. 5 means you're looking for a new job. So I inherited this PL5 there, and they said, but the good news is we're building you a new branch across the street in the parking lot of HEB. So I stayed there for a year, and literally we took it from a PL5 to a PL1. And
Awesome.
And I was excited to see that. And so I ended up getting my area regional position, and I went from just managing 1 branch to overseeing lending, the mortgage side, for 25 branches.
Wow.
And it was like drinking water from a fire hydrant, and the money was incredible, most I'd ever made in my life. But I was literally staying up till midnight, 1 o'clock every single night, just reviewing files, making sure everything looked good, because it was such a mess, and a lot of them didn't know what they were doing and things like that. I inherited a bunch. So they ended up having to pay a major fine to the government. And when those come, layoffs come, and they went from 6 area managers to 2 overnight. And I was unemployed and went back to the private sector of smaller companies. And then I was at a company called Sendera Funding, and I got there in 2015 and loved every minute of it. And we were here. I had an office over on Alsbury, and then we got bought out by Service First Mortgage. And I said, there's already a branch in Burleson. And I said, well, now there's 2. So now we have the Midtown branch, and I have the Old Town branch, and mine's the Perdue group. And so we've been here since 2018, and I love it. So I thought my last company was great, but this one's even better. So
Awesome.
What excites you about what you do?
I love helping somebody complete a dream that they've always wanted. They want their first house, or they want that second house, and they're upgrading, or they're wanting to downsize, or they're wanting to build. And I love making that come true for them. They're in debt, and so they're trying to pay off a bunch of credit cards and things like that. Sometimes I can help them do that, just things like that. So I've always, my entire life, I've wanted to help people. Went in the military to help people, and law enforcement to help people, and now I can able to still help people in a safer environment. So that's my main reason for doing it, and it's a passion for being able to help people do that. So
I think you get to work with such a variety of industries with what you do. Realtors, you have the real estate side, you have the builder side, you have
title, insurance.
Yeah. I mean,
home inspectors.
There's so many levels to, purchasing a home that I don't think people think about when they first, dive into like buying their first home, and that's why we have a show called Real Estate Realities now, and she's talking about all that and bringing on mortgage lenders and talking about all the different things, because people really don't think about it when they're buying. What do you find to be the biggest challenge when you have a first time buyer come in looking for a mortgage? Do they tend to come and get pre-approved?
No, they call us last. So a lot of your first time home buyers and second and third look at buying a home like buying a car. I'm going to wake up on Saturday morning, I'm going to go look at new cars. And what do? They go look at new cars, they pick out a car, then they go and talk to the finance people and do all that. Buying a home is totally opposite. I mean, you don't want to waste a realtor's time by going and looking at houses when you don't even know if you got 2 pennies to rub together.
Right.
Right.
So we try to coach realtors, just like, listen, and they've really come around to this. A lot of the newer ones are starting to accept that, and they're being coached properly to get your pre-approval. 1, it's you're not out there wasting time, especially with gas prices so high.
Correct.
2, it's for your own safety, because there are predators out there that will try to go and find some young lady to go show them houses, and they've got other intentions, and I mean, you see it.
terrifying.
nationwide. So-
Yeah,
Right.
I've heard stories, and I've seen stuff, like a Dateline type of thing,
Mhm.
where that's exactly what was going on. That's a really, really good point.
And I've had a realtor one time call me, and she's like, "Hey, I'm showing this house, and I'm just uncomfortable." And I said, "Where's your husband?" She's like, "I can't get him to answer the phone." And I was like, "Well, who is this guy?" She's like, "Well, I sent him to you guys." And it's like, "Yes, you sent him to us, but we also told you we haven't got any documents from this guy. So we don't have his ID. We don't have anything. And here you are showing him homes. We don't even have a
Wow.
pre-qual for you. Remember when we told you that?" And she's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Then why are you showing him houses?" So, and she's like, "It just felt really uncomfortable." And I said, so she was in her vehicle, and I said, "Don't get out of your vehicle. Just text the guy on your way to the next house and say, 'Hey, my son's sick. I need to go home. We need to reschedule.'" And that's what she did. She never heard from him again. So that could have
Wow.
been something
Yeah.
right there. But, and I mean, that was several years ago. And she's an outstanding realtor, and she learned her lesson.
That
then.
is
So,
that's
yeah,
frightening.
and it
Very
happens
frightening.
more than you realize. And sometimes it's happening. They don't even know it's happening. So yeah, it's there's so many reasons to get your lending in place first, because you're not wasting a lot of people's time.
I've been in
and
my
it's safety.
I've been in my house for 13 years, so so I honestly I don't remember the process. I mean, really, of going through that. So I don't know how different it would be for me to if we were going to do that today versus 13 years ago. But thinking about those types of things, safety wise, even as a buyer, know who your realtor is. I
Mhm.
mean, honestly, I think there's predators on both sides.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, in every industry, there's a
Mhm.
predator.
They're everywhere.
I mean, how many times has a woman been home, alone and let a plumber in? Or so my recommendation is to everybody should be off of a referral. And
Well, you see that on Facebook on the Burleson
Mm-hmm.
pages
Oh,
asking for
yeah.
referrals, and people say, "Can't you Google that?" Well, I also look at the other side of who do you like that you trust and things like that.
And
So
when you see the same person, especially getting recommended or referred over and over and over again, it speaks volumes about who
Right.
you're going to. So I think this is what I was going to ask you, and I started talking and then I forgot about it. So if I were to go and apply for a mortgage today versus 13 years ago, do they do background checks?
no, we don't do anything like that.
I was just
I mean, your credit
curious.
report tells a lot about somebody. I can look at somebody's credit
Mhm.
report and I can tell, you know what, in 2018, it looks like you went through a divorce or something like
Right.
that. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of things. If you've done it for a long time, you can look at a credit report and
Mhm.
say, you must have been laid off, or here's a bunch of medical collections. Who in your family, somebody must have had some sort of medical issue in
Right.
this year or something like that. So yeah, we can dictate a lot of that in this industry. So
That's red flags. Or
Yeah.
like looks like you've had a divorce in 2018, 2017, 2016, 2015, 2014. We laugh about it, but
Yeah.
I mean,
No, there are
well,
some
you see an
people who-
IRS judgment or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like this shows you didn't pay your 941 taxes, so you owned a business back in so and so. And
Mhm.
I mean, we can tell a lot from credit reports. So
you got to go clean it up. I think, I was talking to a first time home buyer who works for us, and she really, granted, she had us to talk to and kind of help coach, and her parents are great at coaching her, going, get pre-qualified. She went and got pre-qualified, first time home buyer, all that kind of stuff, and knew her budget and really stuck to it. And even when she got done with the process, after she finally found a home, because it was put a bid in on this one, put a bid in on this one, and just kept getting beat out, over this past 6
Mhm.
months looking for a house. She was really getting tired of it. She was like, I'm just not going to find a house. So she gets done with it, and she had a whole checklist and questions that she wanted to ask. Like, she was really, really, really prepared. But there was still things even after the process that she wished she had known before she went through the process. So what are some of those recommendations that you have for people who are going to buy a house today? Like you said, doesn't
So-
matter if you're a third time buyer or a first time buyer.
I've got 11 loan officers. So, and and a lot of them, I mean, anywhere from 5 years to 30 years in the industry. And every one of them have been coached many times don't talk to your clients as if they're buying their 5th house. You treat every client as if this is a first-time home buyer. Talk slow. Don't use acronyms. Don't assume that they know what an escrow account is. Don't assume that they know what mortgage insurance is. Don't assume anything. And if they say, yes, I'm aware of that, then you did your job by letting them know. And I think buyers should not be afraid to ask questions. And they need to talk to people that are professionals in the industry and stop relying on so-called experts at home, or
Right.
my gardener's barber did this and he got this rate. And it's like, well, he's also put 50% down and he's got an 800 credit score, you know, and things like that. And here you are trying to put 3.5% down with a 600 credit score. So quit trying to come in here asking for a 4% rate. Had a lady call me yesterday. It was referred to me by an agent in Dallas, and she was asking what our rates are. And I was like, well, that's a loaded question. You know, that's like going to the doctor and saying, hey, what's wrong with me? Well, you're not even in the office. You're calling me on the phone. So I don't know. So, I mean, there's like 30 different factors that make up an interest rate. And I just told her, I said that you got a range from this to this, depending on your credit score, your loan to value, your debt to income ratio, how much you're putting down. And I mean, there's so many things that dictate that. And she's like, okay, thank you. And it's like, I guess she didn't like that answer. Got an online app within minutes. So I guess I did get through to her. So when she's already sent all of her documents in, and so we're on the way to getting her pre-approved right now.
So that's a really good point that you brought up about, you know, calling around to different mortgage companies. I mean, shouldn't that be the answer that every mortgage company, you know, gives? And
but they don't.
They don't.
There's
so
bad apples everywhere. There's bad realtors. There's bad teachers. There's bad cops. There's bad lenders. They make the stereotype. They make us all look bad.
Right.
Like, it's a loan officer. Oh my gosh. It's not like that. And if somebody wants to shop me, that other lender is going to tell them whatever they want to get them to leave and go over there. And it's a bait and switch. And it happens all the time. So they can call all they want. And one of the things I told her in my text, these are true rates. These aren't teaser rates that you're going to see online. And I said that to her. So
you can go to let's just say a competitor, and they'll actually put a teaser rate on their website, and that should be
read the fine
that should
print.
be a flag.
Read the fine
a
print
red
at the
flag,
very
right?
bottom. This is a 70% loan to value. This is paying 2 discount points to get that rate. It says it all in there. Credit score above 740, whatever. It's just they dictate what they want to get that rate. But you know what? It looks flashy. And
ooh, I want that. I want
my
that rate.
dad said I should call this one, and it's like, come on. So
it's my money. It's
Yeah.
like that commercial. It's my
But-
money, and I want it now.
sometimes it's great to educate yourself, but you also got to realize they're trying to catch people because they're first-time home buyers or they're uneducated in the industry, and they're trying to hope that they don't catch on to what's going on. So, I mean,
And there are different variables too, like you said, because there's military. Isn't there some military rates if you're a first-time home buyer too that you can go through?
well, VA, I mean,
the VA
has
VA loans.
It's a great product. I think it's the best loan out there of any loan
Really?
available. Yes, I mean,
But you got to be a veteran, people.
You get 0 down and no mortgage insurance, and you've got that for the life as long as you're going to live.
Right.
You're gonna get
Wow.
that. So
Yeah,
that's
that
an
is
incredible
fantastic.
product. That sad thing about it is sellers are not accepting these offers. Oh, you want to salute the vets all day long, but when it comes time to accepting their offer, it's like, oh, that's all right. I'm going to go for this conventional that's getting 10% down, and I don't have to worry about all the strict restrictions on the appraisal and things like that. So that bothers me as a veteran. That bothers me.
Do you find that the biggest restriction or the biggest turn off to a seller accepting a buyer's offer with a VA loan are those restrictions, meaning the appraisal restrictions, that type of thing, because they're overpricing their home? I mean, if you can't get appraisal,
it could, but I mean, it could. Well, there's restrictions. VA has they're pretty strict on their appraisals. More strict than a conventional appraisal.
Okay.
And things like that. So
what's the percentage? Like, what's the percentage area that you got to meet within that appraisal?
Oh, there's certain, like, they want the home to be safe, sound, and sanitary and things like that. So that's what they're looking for. And
Okay.
I mean, you can't even have grass or dirt touching any wood.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, if the grass has grown up and it's touching wood, that's like it's past the foundation and it's touching wood, that has to be brought back. I mean, that's because it could cause wood rot. Every VA home has to have a insect report, wood eating insect report. So
See, and
it's
we
just
I
things
get-
like that people don't realize. But I mean, and I think it's a combination of the sellers are being told, hey, we don't want this VA deal. Because the appraisals are more strict. This is an older home. It may have a lot of things that they're going to want you to work on to get it up to speed. Conventional is not going to be like that. So I think it's a combination of that. And many, many, many years ago, the VA loan was not a good loan. And a lot of older realtors they knew that. And so they're still in the industry. So they're teaching newer people that are coming in saying, hey, that's not a good loan. And it's like, stop teaching people that because it's the best one out there. So I mean, everybody's got their opinions. That's mine. So
less compromise.
And I'm not afraid to say it on the radio either. So
there's less compromise.
Yes,
Basically on a
yeah.
VA loan.
Yeah. There's less possible things that could come up. So let's go ahead and accept this conventional deal. So,
yeah. And so
anybody that accepts a VA a loan or an offer, I salute them. I love that they did that. So
thank you for your service, by the way.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate your support.
I mean, do you kind of look sometimes and wish that a conventional loan was a little more strict and less compromising than like a VA loan for the purposes of safety and that type of thing? Like, I mean, on a conventional, you don't have to have a termite inspection unless there's, an inspection fines.
Well, most everybody's
termites.
getting up until recently, they're getting home inspections done, and while they're in the option period, they're going to get the home inspected. So a lot of that's coming up, but a lot of people are waiving that just to get the offer accepted. So it's a big risk. So it could make a difference, but
we're trying right now. We've got I have a lovely lady that I'm the power of attorney for, and she has a home in Terrell that we're trying to sell. And we sold one of them really fast, but this is her homestead. And that is one of those things. And and a report came back that the word was not mold. It was, it was something like that. There's something growing because it's a pier and beam house. And so they said, well, we got to go in there and remediate the mold. And then you get the report and you go, it's not mold. It's fungus was the word.
Fungus.
But hey, we will clean that fungus out for you. No problem. Well, they wanted a whole bunch of money for it. And I said, I'm not going to pay you for that, but I will pay to get it taken care of for my own person. And they ended up walking away from the deal. So, but I mean,
the industry is very crazy right now. I mean, it's very volatile. I mean, majority of mortgage companies out there sell their loans to investors. Investors are tightening up on what they're accepting. So, I mean, we've got one company that was our competition. They couldn't get 2 loans we inherited. We got from them. The realtor sent them to us because her loan officer at this other company couldn't get basic stuff closed because they were tightening up so much. He called me one day and said, hey, I want to come join your team. I was like, why? I said, because I can't get anything closed over here. I've lost 2 deals to your team, so I want to come join your team. So he joined us a month ago. And it's
wow,
that's happening.
Yeah.
So I read a report last week that experts in our industry are anticipating that 1/3 of the loan officers in our industry right now will not be here next year. They'll be out of this industry. They're anticipating 1/3 of the mortgage companies out there are going to be out of business.
Wow.
So, I mean, these are the experts at the top that are predicting this. So, but for companies like us, we've been around. This is our 25th year. Our CEO who created it, same CEO. He drives a Ford F-150 and he wears boots and jeans and he'll pull up and you have no idea he's the CEO of a multi-billion-dollar company. I mean, we don't want to be big. So these companies that are trying to get huge, those are the ones that are laying people off right now.
Right.
I mean, it's crazy, the people that are getting laid off.
You can be a very successful smaller business and be very successful.
And yeah, and what you offer is going to make a big difference too. Like the lady that you worked with that was not getting anything accepted, there's a huge thing. I mean, it's big, called the certified buyer is what we offer, where we'll take somebody who wants to get approved for a loan. There's a difference between pre-qualified and pre-approved. Pre-qualified means we've reviewed their docs and it looks good. Pre-approved means we actually took their loan and sent it to underwriting. They've approved it with conditions. And now all we need is a house and an appraisal and a title. And that's it.
And that was actually one of the things that we put as a prerequisite, that they had to be pre-approved.
Yes.
I don't want anybody and maybe that's limiting, the buyer a little bit for this house. It's a bigger home and in a beautiful area of Terrell. I don't know if you've ever been in Terrell, but it's on that main the main drag with all the big houses and the historic district. And it's just a beautiful home with a beautiful piece of property. And but it takes a special buyer for this type of home. And so I hate that we lost this. I hate that we lost this buyer, but I got to make sure, because she's moving here. So we're building a house here for her. And
Nice.
she's, we're so close to getting all this done. And so, so we're riding that roller coaster, but for safety purposes too, because she is older and lives by herself up there. I didn't want anybody, just anybody coming in to look at this house because you have curiosity to see the house. We wanted pre-approved buyers for safety purposes, and I think that that's really important for anybody who's selling a house.
It is.
I mean, if you can get there, right? I mean, I get,
it's like we said at the beginning, it's safer for realtors. They're not
Right.
out there wasting gas on somebody that, wait, we got an offer accepted. Oh, guess what? It came back. They couldn't get approved in underwriting.
Why-
How much time was just wasted on that? And not only the trickle down effect from the seller, and what if they're trying to buy something and, I can't buy this house now because mine didn't sell. And it's just, and there's so many mortgage companies out there that don't allow that. They're not going to do a pre-approval. They don't have the capacity because they're too big. So
Really?
and that's why they're going to be hurting.
I so appreciate you explaining that, because I didn't understand that actually. And so it helps to go to a smaller firm. I mean, I from everything you're telling me, it makes sense. We got 20 seconds.
It's big about dealing with local too.
I want to make sure everybody knows where to go find you. sfmc.com/Burleson Old Town. Is there a
the PerdueGroup.com.
PerdueGroup.com, guys. Reach out and get some help. I appreciate you, Mike, for
Thank y'all
talking
for having me.
education, mortgage,
Life.
and life.
Bye.
All right. We'll see you guys back here tomorrow morning on JoCo Vibes.
Bye.
From Burleson to Venus and Grandview to Godley, this is the voice of Johnson County, JoCo Community Radio.
Let's be honest, wheelchairs are heavy, bulky, and ugly. If you carry a wheelchair in your car to take care of a loved one, you know how hard it is getting